How's it going, guys? It's Cole from See Through Panel showing off my comic and manga haul from July, but also halfway through August 2024. I'm not sure what happened with my order this month. It just took a long time to get here. I only got it like 3 or 4 days ago. So this is going to be like most of August. It might end up just being my August haul video as well. We'll see what I name this. I have no idea. But I'm not going to be spoiling anything. I haven't read the majority of the books that are in this haul, so I don't even know anything to spoil, but I'll be flipping through them. I'm not too worried about seeing spoilers, but if you are, then read them first. Come back after. We can talk about it then, although I'm not really ready to talk about it yet, so please keep the comments spoiler free. First book, Firepower, Book 2 hardcover by Robert Kirkman and Chris Samnee. Published by Image in this big chunky hardcover. Retailing for $50 US. Contains issues 13 through 30 of Firepower. Let's do a full credits before I haven't cracked the spine on this actually, so in case if you don't care, I'm sorry, but if you don't know how to like soften up a spine on a hardcover, this is how you do it. Get all the pages right in the middle and then slowly. Isn't that a nice sound? On a fresh hardcover. Just to loosen up the spine a bit so I don't crack it when I'm just assuming this is a sewn binding. If Image isn't doing sewn bindings on their like deluxe hardcovers, then kill me. It is. Okay, it is a sewn binding. Anyway, let's do a full credits now that we've loosened up that spine. So we have Kirkman as the writer, Samnee as the artist, Matt Wilson on colors, and Russ Wooten on letters. And this is like a indie version of Iron Fist, from what I know. It's not like one-to-one, but it's like kind of similar. Got the martial arts vibe. I think there is a dragon involved. I barely recall. I've only read 2 volumes of it when it was first coming out, and I've just kind of waited for it to wrap up. And this is the ending of the story, so it looks like they got 30 issues out of it. I'm glad it wrapped up in a timely manner, because with Kirkman, you never know how something's going to end up. Classic Chris Samnee art. A lot of ink on the page, but used just beautifully. Beautiful, beautiful art by him. Really excited, because I love a good martial arts story that doesn't take itself too seriously, very over the top. Classic, like, kung fu movie style. This obviously has some fantasy elements. Our main character is able to, like, make his fist start on fire. And that's why it's called Firepower, obviously. But I haven't seen, there's the dragon, I guess. I haven't seen much of the story, so I don't want to say too much, because I'm only 2 volumes deep, so I'm no expert or anything like that. What should we do next? Let's do some manga. Oh, I didn't crack the plastic on this one. I don't think I'm going to, because I've shown this before. So this is Fable Omnibus Volume 3 by Katsuhisa Minami, published by Kodansha, retailing for $23 US, so not too bad for a little omnibus edition. Volumes 5 and 6 of Fable. I've covered this before in my other hauls, but from what I know about it, it is about a hitman or a assassin, a killer of some kind, going into hiding and kind of trying to live a normal life while he's laying low. And he struggles to lay low. Maybe I will try and crack the plastic on this. Yeah, okay, that wasn't so bad. I feel weird not showing off any of the internals, the interior art of the book, so maybe I will crack the plastic on this. So it is a very different art style than a lot of manga. I'm sure if you don't read a lot of manga, it looks typical, but I will say it's not, because it goes from like this photorealistic style to more of a cartoony, expressionistic thing. Okay, maybe not in this volume. The first one didn't have nearly this much like intricate rendering. First volume. But it does show off the art style a good amount. So, half slice of life, half action, I think is what we're getting here. I know there's a good bit of humor in it as well. But I will cover that series in its entirety eventually. What should we do next? Maybe we do this thing. So, I think I did a video on the first Chip Zdarsky Daredevil oversized hardcover, and someone in the comments said, great series, something along the lines of, great series, it's a shame they stopped making the hardcovers. And I was confused, so I looked it up, and he was right. I wish I would have gotten his name before. It's on that video. You can check the comments of the video. I covered the Zdarsky Daredevil. They got to the very last oversized hardcover and stopped printing them, so they will never finish that. So I had to go back and get, well, I didn't have to, and get the Omnibus Volume 1, obviously published by Marvel, art by Zdarsky, Chiquetto, and we'll see some other artists here. $100 US. Collects Daredevil 1 through 30 and the first annual. I just hate buying from the big two at this point because their stuff is so expensive. So we're going to loosen up the binding on this. So basically what they did was they printed the oversized hardcovers until they were almost done, then said, no, we're canceling the whole line. We're no longer going to print oversized hardcovers. We're going to focus on omnibus. And so I had an incomplete collection, and I'm a big Daredevil guy, so I kind of had to go back and get this and pre-order the second volume that's coming out that finishes up the story. But I won't say too much of my thoughts on this. I did cover it in a video, the first, 15 issues. Let's get the full credits here. It was a very strange move by them. I really am not a fan of how they handled that. They should have finished the existing lines and just not started any new ones. So we have Chip Zdarsky as a writer, Marco Cicchetto as an artist. I figured out it's Cicchetto, not Cicchetto, which makes sense. Sunny Go as colorist. Then we have Lalit Kumar Sharma as a fill-in artist who does a good job in his own right, and Jorge Fornes, who I adore, as an artist on a singular issue, which is an incredible, incredible issue. So this would be Cicchetto. This would be Sharma. I mean, pretty clearly different art styles here. And then, if we can find Fornes, which you wouldn't think, there's Fornes. Vastly different art styles, so much more retro. Very Batman Year One-esque. But beautiful, beautiful art. Really weird because I'm a big fan of the story so far, but they've kind of killed my excitement by how they handled the existing books that they already put out. But that's fine. It is what it is. Let's get on to Alley by Junji Ito, published by Viz, retailing for $25 US in the typical Viz hardcovers for Ito. Weird matte rubbery cover with spot varnish on a lot of places. They always do good production in these books, but I'm kind of let's look at this binding here. Yeah. I'm not big on glued bindings for I have every Ito book that there is besides Tomie or Tomi, however you pronounce it. And one day a glued binding is just going to fail on me, and I'm going to have to figure that out. But so it kind of hurts me just to think about how my entire Ito collection will be loose paper at some point, but you can't get literally everything in a sewn binding. So it is just classic Junji Ito. This is looking rough and loose from him, which is interesting. Maybe an earlier work. Classic Junji Ito short stories. We have Alley, The Namesake, Descent, The Ward, The Inn, Blessing, Smokers Club, Mold, Town of No Roads, Memory, and Ice Cream Bus. So, as always, I'm expecting some just bizarre, strange, off-the-wall horror that is both horrifying, but at times so absurd that it's kind of comedic. Some really strange designs, some character designs that are very typical of Ito. He doesn't really go out of his way to switch up his characters' faces, which doesn't really matter. That's not the point of the story. And I think it kind of just, to make this many books as he does, to make this many short stories and works, I'm fine with him cutting that one corner to make this just very unique style of horror that he makes. So, big fan of Ito. Have almost all of his books. I'm putting off getting Tomie for 5 years. Don't talk to me about it. I already know. Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips' Fatale Complete Collection is what I'm calling it because it's not a trade paperback, but it doesn't say Complete Collection. It is by Image Comics, retailing for $60 US. Super chunky story here. It doesn't say on here how many issues it was. But it is a typical Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips work in that it is a crime noirish story, but it's 21 issues. But it is also kind of a Lovecraftian horror, from what I've heard, which is like my favorite thing ever. So I'm very interested to see. I mean, even just from the covers, you can tell we got some sort of Lovecraft going on. We got tentacles everywhere. So I'm really into the idea of this book, although I've never read it. I've always wanted to get it. I ordered this book once, and it was stolen off my doorstep, and since then it's been kind of like a just like a white whale, even though it wasn't super out of print. It just wasn't something I was willing to spend extra money for separate volumes, because it was in multiple different paperbacks or hardcovers, and now I have all in one paperback. So I mean, you get what you pay for with. You get more than you pay for with Brubaker and Phillips. You get like some of the best work in comics in the genre, which is usually noir, but in this case is noir horror, cosmic Lovecraftian beings, I guess. Whoa, yeah. Yeah, so definitely like a little different, which I think is a good thing, because although they do it very well, they do mostly crime, so it's kind of nice to see them, stretch their legs and work their writing muscles to something a little bit different. So, always going to be a big fan of theirs. Only a couple more books left, but there's some really good ones. So, we got Eternals, published by Marvel. 2 Marvel books this time, which is not typical, I would say. Written by Kieran Gillen, art by Isada Ribic, don't know. I've loved him for a long time, never knew how to say his name. Retailing for $45 US. Why? I don't know why. It's a 12-issue series with 3 one-shots. It's $45. I hate buying from Marvel. I hate it. It's not even a full story. That's what really is the thing. So you have to follow this if you want a full story. Because I've read this. I've read the main series proper, 1 through 12, and a couple of the one-shots. Never read Avengers, X-Men, Eternals, Judgment Day, or AXE, or AXE, Judgment Day. You need to read that to follow this up, to get a full story. And even then, Isad Ribic does not do... I'm sorry if it's Ribic. I'm not sure. And you also have Villanova, I don't know how to say that, on 2 fill-in issues. Matthew Wilson on colors, and Isad is also on covers. You get Dustin Weaver, Kei Zama, and the late great Ryan Bodenheim on one shot, which is just it's just so gorgeous. There's nothing else to say. If you haven't seen Ryan Bodenheim's art, look it up, because it's just fabulous. But you don't get Ribic on a lot of the Axe books, from what I've seen. I could be wrong. And that's the main draw here, is like this awesome sci-fi, cosmic level, grandiose, operatic story with a nice dash of humor in it from Kieran Gillen. That's what brings this all together, I think, is Assad's art. And so when you go from that to another artist, no matter how good the artist is, stylistically they're going to clash, because this art is just like so cinematic and painterly and gorgeous. And I don't know what to think about it, because I wanted this series the moment I started reading it. I wanted it in a collection, and now I probably will end up getting the Axe books or book. But God, it's just conflicted about it, because you pay too much for Marvel books, and often you're kind of obviously getting into a superhero story, so there's not going to be a definitive end or beginning. And it would have been nice to... Very Kirby-esque design. I love that. So this is the fill-in artist. It looks really good. Really, really good. Great covers. But, yeah, you're just... I'm conflicted on it. Let's show you some of that Bodenheim art before I stop here. There it is. Stylistically, I don't even know how to describe it. Like super bold outlines on characters. Really vivid colors. Let's see who does his colors. Chris O'Halloran, okay. And just like really great sci-fi design, great storytelling. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I really loved his art and everything I've seen. He does some stuff in the Immortal Hulk as well, and he did some good work with Jonathan Hickman. Um, yeah, just a great artist in general. Fantastic stuff. Look up his work if you haven't seen it before. But yeah, conflicted about this book. I've been going on about it for too long though. So let's get moving. Den, Volume 2 by Richard Corbin. Hardcover by Dark Horse. Movovum. $35 US. I'm getting quiet because although I have stopped caring about showing nudity in my videos, because it is truly just for educational purposes and things, and I don't plan on, making money, so I don't really care if they're monetized. There can be some stuff in Richard Corbin's books, and I'm just kind of, a little hesitant. Although the art is gorgeous, I never have claimed to be a Corbin expert. I've got almost no experience with the man. I know that his art is stunning at best, and at worst for me, it misses a little bit. I think he's at his best when he's doing these really almost fine art painterly works, and sometimes he just does kind of like your typical comic line art. In this case, it's clear to me that this is the type of work that I love, just looking at this art. Very retro, but at the same time, super, super clean, and retro in design, modern in execution, I think. Like the storytelling itself, very old school. The sound effects, the character designs, the set pieces, but the art itself has a nice blend of old school and just so unique that it can be passed off as modern, I think. Just some bizarre stuff I'm seeing out of this book right now. Yep. That's what I thought. So yeah, you're going to get a lot of sex and violence out of Den, and that's kind of all I know about it. I've yet to start reading it because it seems like a super fast read, and so I want to get a few of these hardcovers in line before I start so I can just knock them out. And lastly, finally in my hands I hold The Major by Mobius, hardcover by Dark Horse, part of the Mobius library that hasn't had a book printed in years. I won't say anything about that. $40 US. This is a book that I have been trying to get. I considered buying this book in French multiple times and had it almost shipping to me before I said, screw it. I'll wait. They will get to it. Then it went up for pre-order and it got canceled. And then it went up for pre-order again. And this time I actually got it. And so if you don't know, I am a huge Mobius fan. He's my favorite artist of all time. I think he's the greatest person to ever grace comics with their presence. I think he was just so ahead of his time, so unique, so creative, so visionary, and truly a one-of-a-kind talent. And this is a black and white book that is very straight from the brain. He said he had no plans or layouts. He was doing this in a journal. He gives you a whole beginning bit where he talks about how he describes the journal that it's in. It's also very personal. He's present in this book. It's very inside Mobius. This seems to be, I haven't read it fully. I've flipped through it a lot, but it was always in French. So it seems to be Desert B, which is a big world that he works in a lot with his works. And a lot of fauna of Mars kind of vibes, especially with this piece here. It looks like Le Fond de Mal. I don't know how to say it in French. But just so gorgeous and so much more personal, nitty-gritty, black and white than I'm used to for his major books, like Edina, or the Incal or something like that, where you're getting this very well-produced, colored, highly rendered, super detailed, super well-thought-out stuff. This is off the cuff, inside the brain of Mobius. It might not make sense a lot of the time, but it always looks gorgeous, and it's always just so creative. And I'll show you some of my favorite pages as well. I love the self-insert of Mobius too. It's at times, you know, those things can be masturbatory creatively. I think he does it really well because, I mean, his art has always been, he's always claimed that his art is like very influenced by who he is, and he puts a lot of himself into it. So I have no problem seeing that, you know, fully manifested in this book. This has become a tangent. This has become like a really brown-nosy thing about Mobius, but that's fine. Some of my favorite pages here. Just crazy. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. I was about to start doing a separate video just on that book. Don't need to do that right now. So, let's start stacking them up. What am I most excited for this month? It's gotta be the major, obviously, because of how I talked about it. I think you could probably tell that. But Den, I think with 2 hardcovers now, I'm ready to start actually reading it and not just, you know, collecting it. I'm excited. I'm always happy to have new Junji Ito. Fable, at this point I might just let them all stack up before I start because I want to just devour it. I say that about a lot of things and I don't cover them on the channel, but sometimes I just like to read for myself. This Fatale, I've wanted to have in my collection for a long time, but I'm also behind on, as with all things, I am behind on my Brubaker Phillips stuff, so God, I don't even know. I love that I own this, but it just makes me angry that it exists in 2 different books for one story. Yeah, it's fine. No shit, no like hate on Gillen or Ribic or anyone who worked on this book. The book itself's phenomenal. It's a marvel. That's the problem, and their weird publishing witchery. It's just odd to me, but yeah, this is a really nice big haul. Not the biggest I've ever had. Still quite a bit of books and some really great stuff. Honestly, like some things that I think are really not personal to me, but like some of my favorite stuff. Like you give me a Daredevil omnibus the same month you give me a Mobius book. Those are going on my 2 highest shelves on my bookshelf that just have the stuff I love the most. So really happy about that. I am currently working on The Midnight Order by Matthew Bablé and 70,000 other people. So I showed that off in a haul. I'm in the middle of it right now. There will be a video on that soon. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace.